皆さん、こんにちは。If you have been studying Japanese, you have probably wondered when to use wa and ga. At the beginning level, this question is often explained simply by saying wa is a strong form of ga. It is true, but not always. There are little complicated rules of when to use wa and ga, and in this video, I am going to explain these rules with examples. First, I'm going to explain 5 rules of using wa. Wa is a topic particle. One of the first sentence structures that the beginning students learn is x while y des, meaning x is y. In this basic sentence structure, we use wa to mark the subject. 私は学生です. I am a student. You could use ga. 私が学生です. In this case, you are emphasizing 私, and it means it's me who is a student. Second rule, when the subject is already introduced in the discussion, use wa. 田中さんが来ました. 田中さんは先生です. As you can see in this example, Tanaka-san is introduced in the first sentence. So Tanaka-san in the second sentence should be marked with wa. I will explain it later, but when you introduce the subject for the first time, we use ga. So Tanaka-san in the first sentence is marked with ga. The third rule, when the predicate is an adjective or noun, plus da or desu, we use wa. For example, パーティーは楽しかったです. The party was fun. Party is the subject, and 楽しかった is the predicate, which is an adjective. So we mark the party with wa. In the second sentence, パーティーは成功でした. The party was success. Party again is the subject, and 成功is the predicate, and it's a noun, so we mark party with wa. The fourth rule, when the predicate is a verb, we use ga, but we use wa in the following situations. First, when the subject is I or you, we use wa. 私は学校に行きます. We also use wa when we're talking about habitual events or things that happens regularly. ケンさんは毎日仕事に行きます. Ken-san goes to work every day. We also use wa in a negative sentence. 陽子さんは肉を食べません. Yoko-san doesn't eat meat. The fifth rule, when you want to contrast one thing from another, we use wa. ラーメンは好きです. Normally, when we use the expression 好きです, we usually use the particle ga. But suppose you don't like Japanese food in general, but you do like ramen compared to other Japanese food, then we can say ラーメンは好きです to contrast ramen with other Japanese food. Let's look at the subject particle ga. The first rule is when the subject is first introduced in the discussion, we use ga. 田中さんが来ました. 田中さんは先生です. In the first sentence, Tanaka-san is introduced first, so we use the particle ga. But be careful if you are contrasting Tanaka-san with another person, and another person didn't come but Tanaka-san did come, then you could say Tanaka-san wa kimashita, meaning as for Mr. Tanaka, he came. The second rule, when the WH question words are used as a subject, we always use ga. For example, 誰が来ましたか? Who came? 何が面白いですか? What's interesting or what's funny? The third rule, sometimes there is a sentence within a sentence. The sentence that is embedded in another sentence is called a subordinate clause, and we mark the subject in the subordinate clause with ga. For example, 私は田中さんが図書館に入るのを見ました。I saw Mr. Tanaka entering into the library. So, 田中さんが図書館に入る is the sentence within a sentence. So, the subject, 田中さん is marked with が。In the next sentence, 私が読んだ本は面白くなかったです。The book I read was not interesting. The sentence 私が読んだ is embedded in the sentence, so that's a subordinate clause. And 私 is the subject of the subordinate clause, so we mark it with が。私が読んだ本は面白くなかったです。Sometimes, when the subordinate clause is modifying a noun, like in the second sentence, you can use の instead of が。私の読んだ本は面白くなかったです。But you cannot use の in the first sentence because the subordinate clause 田中さんが図書館に入る is not modifying a noun. Let's look at the sentence structure. X は Y が Z. Some verbs and adjectives usually take this sentence structure, and it will be very helpful for you to try to memorize the verbs and adjectives that requires this sentence structure. The first group is when the verb is in a potential form, like 食べれる or 飲める, so it's the can-do form. For example, 私は納豆が食べられます。I can eat 納豆. The second group are the verbs that is in the volitional form, like 食べたい or 飲みたい, like I want to do certain things. ケンさんは寿司が食べたいです。ケンさん wants to eat sushi. ヨーコさんはジュースが飲みたいです。ヨーコさん wants to drink juice. The third group is the verbs あります and います。These verbs takes が。私は犬がいます。I have a dog. 田中さんは車があります。田中さん has a car. The third group is the verbs that express ability, like わかる and できる。山田さんは英語がわかります。山田さん can understand English. 田中さんはフランス語ができます。田中さん can speak French. The fourth group is the verbs that express necessity, like いる. Please be careful that this いる is different from いる to exist. This いる means to require. 私はもう少し時間がいります。I need a little more time. The fifth group is the adjectives like 欲しい、好き、嫌い、上手、and 下手。たけしさんはガールフレンドが欲しいです。たけし wants a girlfriend. ゆうこさんは英語が上手です。Yuko is good at English. Finally, emotion adjectives like 怖い、恥ずかしい、嬉しい、and 羨ましい take this sentence structure. 山本さんはお化けが怖いです。山本さん is scared of ghosts. 本田さんは山田さんが羨ましいです。本田さん is jealous of Yamada-san. I hope this helped. またね。